Shalom, shalom. Most High Christ. I'm your host with the most. Yeah, One Nation Israelite School. Commander Jews, I mean Judea. Commander Judea. Commander Judea here at One Nation Israelite School. Welcome to the Sabbath. We'll be starting in a second. All righty. Beginning. Everybody stand and face the east. Thank you, Father God, for another day, another night. Thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for all your blessings. Give us all our sins, those that are known and unknown. The strength to overcome the demons that we fight on a day-to-day basis. Bless those who are less fortunate. God, thank you for the Sabbath, for another chance to get this thing right. The spirit of communication for the food, for the drink, the brethren and the sisters in the month. Father God, we ask that you bless those who couldn't be with us today. Bless the Israelites who seek to keep thy will amongst the four corners of the earth. Father God, as we come to thee, we ask that you fulfill our needs, keep us sustained and whole, that we have no need for you. Father God, we thank you for the abundance of all things. In the Son Christ's name, we pray that you give us something that we can draw from this and add to our day-to-day lives, so that we can walk better for thee at the time appointed. We may be accounted worthy to enter into thy kingdom. In the Son Christ's name, we give you glory, praise, and honor. Amen. Shalom, shalom, Most High in Christ. First time we tried to do this, the enemy wanted to be involved. So we pray that those who normally follow along find themselves a way back in. And for those of you who couldn't find your way back in, I hope that you find the replay. So with that being said, welcome to the closeout of the Sabbath. What do we normally say around this time? How was your week? How was your week?
It was long. It was long. I'm glad I made it.
Praise glory to the Father. How was your week? you know, understand that. Okay, let's see something. Shiggity doogity going on here. Okay, here we go. Shalom, 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 shalom of God in Christ. Shalom. Tough. Shalom. Not Christ. Shalom. Hosanna Christ. Well, we thank the Most High for it's building us to be able to take whatever comes. Whatever the battle comes. Whatever battle comes, we thank the Most High because in that we know the Lord has built us to take it. Please tell me that. Please tell me that's right. Okay. Christ. Ah, shalom. Shalom, Most High. Christ. Just been enduring, which is actually a good comment speaking on what we're going to talk about today. So I pray everybody's week has been well, regardless of whatever trials we may have had to overcome. My week, I say it's been busy, but trials never stop. Trials never stop. Definitely still enduring. For that, I thank the Most High for allowing us to make it through it. So, with that, we're going to go into today's class. We're going to today's class, which is, we're going to speak a little bit something similar to about endurance, basically. Let's do it like this. Shalom, shalom. Let's get all righty. Y'all forgive us, we got things going on. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and start with Romans 15 and 4. Basically starting with Romans 15 and 4 every time.
Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Again.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
So it says the things that were written aforetime were written for what our learning, that through the scriptures we might have hope and comfort and hope. All right, so we thank the Most High for giving us the heads up of the things I was said to come. All right, Romans 15 for one more time because my mind is trying to come back.
Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
All right, so the things that are written aforetime. The things that were written aforetime. This whole Bible. Just having typo things going on today. Man, camera falling, everything. Everything that was. What's going on? It's having a fit today. So things that were written for a time was written for our learners that we might have hope. All right. So obviously that means there's going to be many things to come that we need to be prepared for. But one of the things that was spoken of in this book that was written before a time that was written for our learning is enduring. And the warnings of the things that you may see along this walk while enduring. You're going to have brothers and sisters that come in amongst you. You're going to have family that may come in, and whatever the case may be, right? So in this walk, as you walk in this walk, it's going to be many different things that come along. And one of the things that's going to come along is people that come in. It's going to be oaths that's made. All type of things that come along in the midst of your walk if you endure to the end. What shall you see the end of these things be, though? So let's do it like this. Let's start off. Let's go to Luke 14. Luke 14:28. That was a long intro.
Luke chapter 14 and verse 28. Luke chapter 14 and verse 28. For which of you intended to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost?
Right. So the Lord says, which one of you intending to build a temple cometh in and not counteth the cost first? Now, the building that you're building here is your walk, your foundation in this truth. Why not count the cost? Now, understand this. What is the cost of this truth? The cost of this truth is life or death. At the end, you're either going to receive life or you're going to receive death. Give me Baruch 4:1. Let's prove that real quick. Life and death, because in this truth, you must abide in what? Laws, statutes, and commandments. All right, so Baruch 4:1.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die.
So all that keep it shall live, and all that leave it shall die. Which is what? The law, statutes, and commandments, which is a part of what? This truth. So you counting the cost when you come into this truth of life and death. That's the cost. Life and death. At the expense of what? Keeping the commandment. Which endure how long? Forever. All right. So now, let's go back to Luke 14:28.
Luke chapter 14, verse 28. For which of you intended to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost? Rather ye have sufficient to finish it.
Rather you have sufficient to finish it. This is the whole point. Did you count the cost to make sure you were going to be able to finish it? Because it already told us this is life and death when you come in here. It's life and death. And it said the life comes if you endure it to the end, if you're able to keep it. The death comes if you shall leave it, meaning you didn't finish it. Okay. Let's get Baruch. Let's go to Isaiah 40:8. Why is that important? Did you finish it?
Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 8. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 8. The grass withers, the flower fadeth.
So grass withereth, meaning what? It'll wither away. It'll one season your yard is full of nothing but green grass. And then season switches, and next thing you know, the grass is withered down, it's all brown. Your yard is no longer covered with full grass, it's done withered all the way. Go ahead. So grass withers, go ahead.
The flower will fade.
And a flower will fade. Go ahead.
Because the Spirit of the Lord bloweth upon you, Surely the people is grass.
Surely the people is grass, meaning what? People wither away. The grass don't endure all season long. So you might have some of that real good grass where it's still standing. They got good grass. They nourish that grass. They feed that grass. So much like what people would have to do to endure in this truth. You got to continue to feed that spirit to become a good spirit, right? So it says the grass withers, the flower fade, the spirit of the Lord bloweth upon it. Surely people is grass, verse 8.
The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God shall stand forever.
But the word of the Most High shall stand forever. Therefore, Matthew 24:13. So it's giving us examples here. Grass withers away, flowers fade away. People can be like the Lord bloweth upon it, but people are like grass. They wither away. But at the end of it all, the word of the Lord stands forever. Count the cost. Did you count the cost that you will be able to finish what you started? Because in this truth, people come in, friends come in, family come in. We shall see what shall be the end of them. Will they wither away or will they endure? As God's word endures forever. So if God's word endures forever, Matthew 24:13.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved.
He that endureth until the end shall be saved. That person shall be saved. Okay, now let's get something. Let's go to a point. Let's get an example. Let's show you something. Let's go to Job. Right now we're still talking about who shall endure to the end. And enduring to the end, let's get Job real quick. 2:9.
Job chapter 2 and verse 9. Job chapter 2 and verse 9. Then said his wife unto him.
Start at 8.
Verse 8. Chapter 2 and verse 8. And he took him a potsherd to strengthen himself withal. And he sat down among the ashes.
All right, so this is Job. Now, anybody who's read the story, you know at this point, Job is going through hell. Lost almost everything, and now his health has been stricken. So what happens? His wife comes to him and says, what?
Then said his wife unto him, does thou still retain thy integrity?
Are you still retaining integrity, meaning what? Holding on to hope and faith to be delivered? Because in this walk, enduring, you're going to have what? Hope and faith in situations where you waiting to be delivered from whatever it is you may be going through. That's all a part of the enduring too. So it says, are you still holding on to faith, hope, integrity? Go home.
Curse God and die.
She said, do what?
Curse God and die.
She said, curse God and die. Meaning what? Curse God and die. Break. Forget the commandments. Give up. Lose patience. Whatever the case may be. But notice she knew what the punishment was for what? Not enduring. She knew what the punishment was. And that was to what? Die. She knew it was death. That's why when she said it, said, curse God and die. Sirach 2:15. She knew exactly what the punishment was for not enduring, or losing faith, or losing patience.
Sirach chapter 2 and verse 15. All right. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 15.
14.
Sirach chapter 2 and verse 14. Woe unto you that have lost patience.
Who that?
Woe unto you that have lost patience.
So the Lord says, destruction unto you who have lost patience. Go ahead.
And what will you do when the Lord shall visit you?
What will you do when the Lord comes to visit ye? Well, woe unto you that have lost patience, because most of you have broken. You broke. You gave up. You lost the faith. You didn't endure. And remember, we speaking to Israelites who know better. most of whom have probably already broken the bread and taken the oath, right? Now, when you break that bread, you taking the oath. But many will break the oath. So it says, "Woe to you who have lost patience. What shall be the end for you? Or what shall you do when the man come and visits you?" Get Matthew. No. Where I want Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 11. I'm gonna start at I think 23. Because at the end of this, what are we still talking about? We're going to the end. Did you count the cost? Did you count the cost before you started this? Before you took the oath? Did you count the cost? Many people be like grass that will wither away. All right. But Job's wife understood, even with in all her wickedness, telling him to curse God and die. She understood that death was going to be behind you, what? Not enduring. So, woe unto you who've lost patience. 1 Corinthians 11, verse 23.
First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 23. For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Christ, in the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, "Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me." After the same manner, also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, "This cup is the New Testament in my blood."
So this is a blood and oath. Meaning what? When you break this, to pay this is going to have to be paid in what?
Blood.
Okay, go ahead.
This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he comes.
Until what?
Until he comes.
This is a oath until the end. When you take this, this is to the end. When does Christ come? So you break this, or did you count the cost? To make sure you were sufficient to finish it. Because when you took this bread and you break it, you made an oath till the end. But in many cases, what we see, a lot of people are not going to keep it to the end. Give me what's that? 1 Timothy 3. Give me 1 Timothy 3. Start at 1. Because the Lord told us in the last days we would see a lot of these things. And one of them was something that we're gonna get. Start at 3 and 1. 1 Timothy 3 and 1.
1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. 1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. This is the true saying.
So like 2 Timothy. I don't know why I keep calling 1 and 2 backwards. 2 Timothy 3 and 1.
2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves.
Go ahead.
Covetous, boastful, proud, blasphemous, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection.
Slow this one down right here. What it is?
Truth breakers.
Who?
Truth breakers.
They shall be what?
Truth breakers.
There shall be truce breakers. What is that? You make a truce and you break it. Sounds a lot like what's going on when we look at, are you going to endure to the end? You broke the bread. You said you would show his death until what? He come again. This is an oath that was made to the end, a truce that was made to the end, and you break it. The Lord wonders that will come. So it says, go back to 1 Corinthians 11, 23. 26. Read that again.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 26. 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 26. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show death till he comes.
You do show the Lord's death until he comes. So when Job's wife told him to curse God and die, she wanted him to know, stop trying to endure, stop waiting for deliverance. Curse him and understanding what the judgment was. It was death. But we see what Job's reaction was. Job not only checked his wife, but because he didn't curse God. And, you read that, he keep going on. Let's see the results of Job in the end, because Job did what? He endured until the end. So we go to Job 41. 42. Job 42. Job 42, and they start at 12.
Job.
Or to 11. Job 42. And let's start at 11.
Job chapter 42 and verse 11. Job chapter 42 and verse 11. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been for his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him, and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him.
Right. That's how it happens. You endure and then comfort comes. You know what I'm saying? Out of all the things that was brought upon him, Job stayed faithful. Job didn't break his oath. He stood in the words that was given to him until the end of it. And in that he was blessed. Verse 12. Or finish 11. Yeah.
Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning.
Job was blessed. Job endured. Him that endured to the end shall be saved. What we read in Sirach, let's get that real quick because I want to butcher it. Sirach 2. Job's beginning was nice, but then he got the whole middle ride was hell. But he endured it. So what happened? Sirach chapter 2. Yeah.
Sirach chapter 2 and verse 4. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 4.
No, 3. Well, you can read 4 and then get 3.
All right. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Verse 3. Cleave unto him and depart not away.
Even when his wife told him to curse God, break the commandments, and die, Job cleaved closer and harder to the Most High. And what happened?
That thou mayest be increased at thy last
that is end. Let's prove that. Let's go back to Job 42 and 12.
Job chapter 42 and verse 12. Job chapter 42 and verse 12. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. For he had 14,000 sheep, or 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And keep going. And he called the name of the first Jamil, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Kareem Haput. And in all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job. And their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. So as you can see, Job was increased in his last end. He had more than he even began with. He was already one of the wealthiest men in the land that he was in. Now he got a triple, a double fold of what he had because he endured to the end. Now,
not so much with Adam. Job endured in the words that was given to him. Let's see what happened with Adam. So we go to Genesis chapter 2. Let's start at verse 15.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 15. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 15. Then the Lord God took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. Right. So now we see the words that was given to Adam for him to keep and endure to the end. In eat all of this, but this don't touch it, or ye shall die. Verse 18. Verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. All right. Jump down to 23. Verse 23. And Adam said, this is not bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. All right. Hold on real quick. That's off right there. All right, so now we see that the Most High has given Adam a wife. Now let's go ahead and just start at chapter 3. Chapter 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yeah, have God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Now, here clearly we see that they both understand the words that was given to them to endure to the end. All right, read on. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So what happened now? We just read, what did Adam just do? He ate. And Adam, that means Adam clearly did what? He broke the oath. Right. He broke the oath that he was supposed to, he broke the words that he was supposed to what? Endure in until the end. Right? So now, because of this, let's jump over. Let's jump over to verse 17. Verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife. Now remember, when we started, it says, count the cost. Will you be able to finish it? The cost is what? Life and death, right? Those that keep it shall what? And those who break it shall die. Adam just did what? All right. Read on. Verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. So now it ain't no. Remember, he said you can eat this freely at first. Now he's telling you you're gonna sweat
and work hard for it, and it might just bring nothing but thistles, and it might bring, in other words, it might bring forth bad fruit. All right. Where we at?
19.
Go ahead and get me verse. Go ahead and read on.
Verse 19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground.
So they do what?
Return unto the ground.
What does that sound like? Until you die. Go ahead.
For out of it was thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
So now, because of this, you will die. You will die. Through Adam, death came into. Hold it real quick. Let's show. We'll prove it. Through Adam. Let's get it. 1 Corinthians 15 and 21. Well, 22 is the point. Start at 21.
1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 21. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 21. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead.
Mm-hmm. So it says what?
For since by man came death.
From by man came death. Which man? Jump down to 22.
Verse 22. For as in Adam all die.
For as in Adam all die. Go back to where we was at. And it all came from Adam doing what? Not enduring in the word that was given to him. Why am I pushing that? Because what has been given to us, we got a lot more. We got a lot more that was given to us. And many count the cost. Many don't count the cost, but they break the bread. They take the oath. Like I said, we'll see many come in, maybe friends, family, or unknown people who we accepted as family because of the walk that we're in. How many of them will turn out to be the grass that withereth away? They won't endure. So it says, read that 19 again.
Verse 19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it was thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
Okay, now jump down to verse 24.
Verse 24. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life.
Right. So Adam not only got punished with death that came to all of us now, but he was also kicked out of the kingdom, basically. Because the kingdom was filled of all good things. Which is, you can, Salakia, I this one in the notes, but just to tie everything, as I said it, go to Ezra's. Second Ezra to be exact. Chapter 7. We're going to start at 10.
Second Ezra chapter 7 and verse 10. Second Ezra chapter 7 and verse 10. And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. Because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done.
All right. Which was decreed now is done. Certain one for my eyes is playing tricks. Hold up. Oh, 13.
Verse 13. For the interests of the elder world were wide and sure.
See, before Adam did what he did, he was already in the kingdom. The world was made, he said everything was made wide and sure, meaning it was certain. You were born into this thing. A wide interest means what? Many people can just come on in. How do we know that this? Go back to verse. Go back to verse 5.
Verse 5. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad?
Right. Okay. Verse 7. Salakia. This is verse I needed. Verse 7.
Verse 7. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in the dangerous place to fall.
See, now that the entrance is made narrow here to get into it. But in the elder world, it was made what? Read it again, verse 13.
Verse 13. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit.
Right, meaning you weren't supposed to die. You were supposed to what we say about the kingdom. Damn, my mind is playing. Everlasting life.
Yeah.
That's immortal. You know what I'm saying now. The elder world, which the world that Adam was in, it was wide and sure. He was born into all these good things, and he was supposed to not to die. He was supposed to have everlasting life. But his transgressions then was decreed what is now a narrow entrance, and you got to fight and go through the pain, sorrows, travails, all things that's listed in verse 12 to get into it. Because Adam didn't do what? Endure. And what? Right. He didn't count the cost, and he didn't endure to the end. He didn't endure in the word that was given to him. Many of our people today will do the same thing. So we've just read the difference between Job and the difference between Adam. Which example would you be in the next book that's written? I pray it's not Adam. But yeah, well, he didn't endure in the word that was given to him. So for that, we see what the decree of that came and what the turnout was. Let's get Matthew 13. Matthew 13, verse 20.
Matthew chapter 13 and verse 20. Matthew chapter 13 and verse 20. But he that receives the seed into stony places.
Right. This is going to be a lot of the Israelites in the end, even those who may come amongst us. Remember, a lot of us are going to be the grass that withereth away. It says, what happened now?
But he that receives the seed into stony places, the same as he that heareth the word and at known with joy received it.
Meaning immediately. That's what it's saying. They immediately received it with joy. Go ahead.
Yet have he not root in himself.
But most will not have a root in themselves. They will not have a root. Now, for my gardeners, I know y'all can do this. What happens if you have a plant that has no root? It's pretty much dead already. Even if it's something standing, it's dead. What happens if you got a plant that doesn't have good rooting? It's going to be choked. And it's easy to what? I think the right wind hit it, it's gone. See, y'all heard that from people who actually garden, who actually know this. All right. So the Lord said that these people would be like they were buried on stony grounds and they have no root in themselves. So what happens to them?
Verse 21. Yet have he not root in himself, but endure for a while.
So he did what?
Endure for a while.
Meaning what? They only endure for a while. They only endure for a time. They only endure for a season. Whatever the case may be. That's what it's breaking down to. Saying that many of our people, many that will come amongst us, many, they will be people that they will receive this word with joy. And we be, oh, we love them, because they healed us. But they only gonna do it for a season because there's no real root. And then at a point in time, they're gonna fall out. They're gonna do what? Like the grass? Wither the hell away. All right. So a lot of us A lot of us is going to be like the grass. Just be honest. We'll enter into this truth. We will, we will take the oaths, take vows. Salakia, I said that backwards. We will enter into this truth. We will bow into oaths, taking the oaths and all those things, and then guess what happens? Eventually, we will wither away. Watch this. Go to Matthew's. We in 13, right?
Yeah.
Matthew's 21. Take me to 21 then. Almost got lost. Matthew's 21, because I'm the part about the root not catching has got me going now. Get 21. Watch this. Matthew's 21 and it's verse. Let me find it. When Christ got pissed off. Yeah. Start there. 19.
Matthew chapter 21 and verse 19.
As a fact, start at 18 so it can kind of like what you know what I'm saying?
Matthew chapter 21 and verse 18. Now in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered.
So Christ hungered. All right, watch this.
And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon.
There's nothing on the fig tree. Go ahead.
But leaves only.
But leaves. Now, what good is these leaves gonna do us? No. Go ahead.
And said unto it, let no fruit grow on thee henceforth forever. And presently the fig tree withered away.
Fig tree withered away. This is gonna be a lot of us. We're gonna come into this truth. We're gonna take oaths. We're gonna walk in and we ain't gonna produce no fruits. Or even worse, you're gonna start and stop producing fruits. And you're just gonna be sitting in the midst of the mist, withering away. Now you gotta ask yourself, exactly what good is a tree that is no longer producing good fruit? What good is a tree? Is it, Salakia, a tree that's producing no fruit? What good is it to anyone? What use is it to anyone? What value does it bring to you just withering away? It brings absolutely no value whatsoever. It's good for nothing. But it does make this. I like that. It does make good firewood. So, but that's going to be many of us in this truth. There's going to be many people that come amongst us in this truth. They're going to come in, and it may seem like they're producing fruits. They might, that when people first come in, notice the zeal that be on them. They be working. Oh, it look like they're producing good fruits. Oh shit, this tree done come root. Okay, and then it holds, and then you go back to. Eventually, you know how pissed off. I think about how Christ got pissed off. This tree supposed to have plenty of fruits on it, and when you come back to this tree, it got nothing on it. You done everything good around this tree to get good fruit, and it still brought forth absolutely nothing. The good things that was for the word. As a fact, go to as a planter, when we're going back to the people who actually do this thing. If you went out there and you tilled that ground, you nourished that ground, you planted the seed, you properly watered it, you did everything good, and in the season when it's time to grow, to harvest, you bought for nothing. How the hell you gonna feel about that plant? You're gonna be pissed off. Oh, man, let me get this thing out before it contaminate the rest of my plants. So the lack of I wasted my time. And you know what? Watch this. Go to Isaiah 5. I'll show you the Lord, man. The Lord ain't no joke. He be saying the same thing about us. We are the trees that he done planted. Now, what foundation you fell on? Hey, I put the seeds, everybody else growing while you ain't producing. Isaiah 5 and verse 4.
Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 4. Isaiah 5 and verse 4. What good have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it.
So what more could be done in this vineyard that I ain't done? Go ahead.
Wherefore, when I look that it should bring forth grapes,
Now it's the time for me to harvest. I said, what more should have been done? What more could have been done in this vineyard of mine that I didn't do already? In other words, he said, I done everything possible that you could do to the vineyard. And now that it's time to gather the grapes, what did it do?
brought it forth wild grapes.
It brought forth what?
Wild grapes.
That's saying that it brought forth wild grapes is saying that it brought forth useless grapes, sour grapes, bad grapes. That's a analogy to Israel, believe it or not. He said, I planted y'all to be a noble vine. How is it then you become degenerate to me? You've been planted in the truth. That's a good place to be planted. How then did you not endure to the end? And when it was time to harvest from you, you brought forth absolutely nothing. Christ is pissed off at this point. Let's go back and read how he told that tree to wither away again. 21, right? And verse 19.
Matthew chapter 21 verse 19. Matthew chapter 21 verse 19. And when he saw the fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon, but leaves only. He said unto it, let no fruit grow on thee henceforth forever.
Forever. Why? Because this tree is basically what? Useless. It's no good. There's nothing you can do with this tree except for one thing. And this is the results of Israel. This is what it's going to be. Many that will come amongst us, they will take the oath. They will come in. Some of them will even produce fruits at the beginning. But when the fruits are most needed, it will provide absolutely nothing. And at that point, that tree is good for nothing. So the only thing you can do with a tree that ain't good for nothing, that didn't take good rooting, whatever the case may be, Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7. And let's get verse 18. 19.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 19. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 19. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down.
Say what?
It's hewn down.
It says every tree that brings forth not good fruit is hewn down. Go ahead.
And cast into the fire.
And it's cast where?
Into the fire.
So the Lord is saying that this tree ain't good for nothing. We're gonna go ahead and what? Cut it down. Cut it and cast it into the fire. That is going to be the results to come for a lot of Israel. A lot of the brothers and sisters that's going to come amongst us. They are not going to endure to the end. And the tree that they are is going to produce bad fruits or no fruits. And in that case, the Lord said this tree is good for absolutely nothing except for what? Cutting it down and putting it into the fire. Cutting it down and putting it into the fire. Let's go to Luke. We're saying the same thing. Let me find what I'm looking for. I believe it's chapter 8. No, it's not 8. It's got to be 3. If it ain't 8, it's got to be 3. Acts chapter. I said Acts. Luke chapter 3 and 3 and 9. Luke 3 and 9.
Luke chapter 3 and verse 9. Luke chapter 3 and verse 9. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Every tree, therefore, which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
See what the Lord say? Say that tree, he gonna put an axe to the root, cut it down, and cast it into the fire. It's good for nothing. this will be majority of the people that come into this truth. Prove that. Zechariah 3:18.
Zechariah chapter 3 and verse 18.
Shalakia. I said 3. Yeah, 13. Zechariah 13, verse 8.
Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8. Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, says the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die.
So what?
2 parts therein shall be cut off and die.
Go ahead.
But the third shall be left therein.
Salvation shall be as a drop to a wave. Salvation shall be as a drop to a wave. 2/3 of the people are going to die. Only 1/3 shall remain. 2/3 of the people are going to be a part of the grass that withers away. 2/3 of the people will be a part of the garden that is good for nothing. And it shall be cut down and cast into the fire. The Lord says 2/3 of the people shall die. And these are, we love to talk about Christianity, people in the world, not understanding that they good to keep the kindle. The people who know better are the part of the fire that's going to be chopped down. I mean, the wood that's going to be chopped down to keep the fire going. The people that know. Matthew 7, last script. Matthew 7. And this is how we know that it's going to be. Matthew 7 and 21.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 21. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 21. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. And
that's part of what? Remember, Adam did not do it. Job did do it. Well, it's going to be many of us who came in here, broke this bread, took the oath. Many just are going to come into the truth. And some of you might not even get to the point of breaking the bread. But you're going to come in and you're going to hear enough that you will be condemned for it. Some of you may never even make it to the building, but you got family that's been telling you about this truth. You got family that's done, watch them completely live a totally different life from what you know you raised them to be or what you saw them to be. They transform and start living a totally different life, and you didn't spark curiosity. And it sparked your curiosity, probably. But in most cases, it didn't spark you enough to change. But anytime you say something that ain't right, they correcting you. You know enough to, you should have looked into it. Because in that day, I love God. I know my Jesus, not my, okay. All of you who fell off in your own vain opinions and deceitful mind, sin blinded you and made you think that you were walking right now. It's going to be you. Those who are consumed in your own pride and all that stuff, your lust, whatever the case may be, whatever it was that made you feel it was comfortable for you to no longer keep the commandments, not saying doing the word that was given to you, you're going to be the one saying, Lord, Lord. Go ahead, verse 22.
Verse 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in our name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works.
That's how you know that this is people that was in this truth, people who knew better. Because you can only read it again. Read it again.
Verse 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in our name?
You can only prophesy in the Lord's name if you know his name. You know, walking in his commandments, in other words. Teaching his commandments, in other words. You can only do that if you was in this truth. Go ahead.
And in thy name have cast out devils.
A devil cannot cast out devils. So at some point you had to be walking right.
And in thy name done many wonderful works.
Uh-huh.
And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you.
Why would the Lord say, I never knew you after you did all of these things?
Depart from me.
Hold on. Why would he say that? What did the scripture tell us? Get Ezekiel real quick. That too. It said, I will blot your name out the book of life. That too. That's it. I should have got that one, but let's get 18 real quick of Ezekiel. Let's get 24.
Ezekiel chapter 18 and verse 24. Ezekiel chapter 18 and verse 24. But when the righteous turneth away from his righteousness and committeth iniquity, and doeth according to all the abominations that the wicked man doeth, shall he live? All his righteousness that he hath done shall not be mentioned.
I never knew you. Go ahead.
And his trespass that he hath trespassed, and his sin that he hath sinned, in them shall he die.
All right, go back to where we was at. Verse 22.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So we'll close out where? Matthew's. Hold on real quick before we get that. Matthew's 24, verse 13.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
He that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Go ahead. Get 26. So it's all about enduring. Once again, count the cost. Did you count the cost? Because many will come in, but how many will endure for more than a season? How many will endure to the end? Or will you just be the grass? What example will you be? Will you be Job, who endured in the word that was given to him? Or will you be Adam, who didn't endure in the word that was given to him? And then you see the results of both. One came to life, and one was promised to die. Pray out to something from this.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Christ was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came up to him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Christ understood it, he said unto them, right trouble ye the woman, for she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman hath done be told for a memorial of her.
So the Lord told us to mention what this woman did for him wherever we teach this gospel, because showing you that you women are more important to this walk than just creating babies and baking bread. All right, so I pray y'all took something from this, man, because come in. Many won't count the cost, and many won't endure to the end. What shall be said for you in the next book? That Shalom Most High in Christ.
Shalom, Most High in Christ.
Glory to the Father. Shalom, shalom, Most High in Christ. Glory to the Father. Glory to the Father. Father, glory to the Father. Glory to the Father.